Hey everybody, it's Milan, and today I will be covering a buyer's market and a seller's market. I'm sure you've heard those terms before, and I promise it's very simple to understand. So, in today's example, let's say we have 10 homes for sale and 10 buyers. That's kind of a good balance, right? That means each buyer has a chance to own a home, and each seller has a chance to sell a home. Okay? Now, where you get into the different markets is when there's a shift. Okay, so let's just use the example right now of a seller's market because that's the market we're in. Okay, so a seller's market is when you have, this is just an example. Okay, you have 10 buyers, but you only have one home. Okay, so that means that 9 other buyers are not really going to have a chance to own a home. Okay, so what that does is a couple of things. It creates more competition for the buyers and a lot more leverage for the seller. So now you as a seller, if your home is valued at, let's just say, $100,000, right? You can have a buyer offer. Typically, a buyer will not want to offer lower in this scenario because there's 9 other buyers that are probably going to beat your offer. Okay, so they're either going to offer full price, okay, or they're going to go over. And this is just typical scenarios. Okay, so you as the seller, you have a lot of leverage because now you can pretty much get what you're asking for. You wanted 100,000, but this is a time to maybe go a little bit more. You can get a little bit more. So if another buyer comes in and offers 103,000, you just got 3,000 more dollars off what you were expecting. So you're in a really good position. It's all about leverage. Does this mean that as a buyer, it's not a good time to buy? No, not necessarily. You can still get a good deal for a home, and you can still get into a home without, you know, really just throwing out money. And also, as a seller, negotiations are going to be a lot more in your favor in this scenario because now you have so many options. So you don't necessarily have to take the first offer or a good offer. You can typically wait more for a great offer. Okay? So I hope that kind of explained that. And now I'm going to cover the buyer's market. Buyer's market is exactly the opposite of that. Okay? So in a buyer's market, it's you have, let's say now there's 10 homes for sale, and you're the only buyer, or let's say there's two buyers. There's two buyers and there's 10 homes. Okay? So what that means is now as the buyer, you have the leverage. So 10 people want to sell their homes. And let's use the same example. They're each worth $100,000. Okay? So you can go to, let's say you have three favorite houses. You go to the first one as the buyer, and let's say you love the home, right? It's a great home, and that's the one you want. That's $400,000. So now you have a little bit more leverage to negotiate. You could go lower. You could ask for more closing. You can definitely have a lot more options because guess what? Now that seller realizes that you have a lot more options. So they're not typically, you're not really going to go over the price, right? You're either going to give them what they're looking for or maybe a little bit lower because now you have the leverage. Okay, so now you as the buyer have the power in a sense. So let's just say you offer a little bit lower and it doesn't get accepted. You have another, technically 9 other options that you can go to, right? But we'd say we're going to choose three. So now you go to another home, and maybe that seller is a lot more motivated to sell their home. Okay, so they're probably willing to go down to 95, right? Because they need to go, they need to leave, right? So now you got a better option here. And literally, it's all about options. When you come to these markets, it just means who has the better option at the time, right? The keyword actually is leverage. Let me say leverage. Seller's market, seller has the leverage. Buyer's market, buyer has the leverage. Does this mean that other deals are still not possible? No, not at all. You can still get a good price on either or. It just depends on how well you can negotiate or what understanding you can get to. So I hope that kind of helps simplify that. Literally, just remember these couple things. In a seller's market, it's good to be a seller. In a buyer's market, it's good to be a buyer. If there's not a lot of homes, seller's market. If there's a lot of homes, buyer's market. And I really hope these videos help you out. I've been getting some good feedback, so thank you everybody, and pleasure to do this. And just remember, Melanji has the key.